Hello, my dear archaeologists, and welcome to what will be our most challenging adventure yet. Together we are going to find the long-lost fractured treasure, which is buried deep inside the Mayan temples. I don't need to tell you that Mayan temples are full of challenging puzzles that we need to solve before getting our hands on the treasure, but I'm sure you will definitely be able to solve them and reach the treasure. So, are you ready for an extraordinary adventure? Nolan. You have finally reached the first temple. My observations of the temple show that the puzzle guarding the temple works with fractions. What you need to do is to visualize the fraction written on the board, on the stone beside it. First, you should divide the stone into the same pieces as the denominator of the fraction. To do so, simply stand on the up and down pressure plates and you'll see the writing on the stone will change from denominator to numerator once you get it right. Great, you got something special, Nolan. Now that the denominator is set, all you need to do is to highlight as many parts of the stone as the numerator of the fraction. Again, stand on up and down buttons to increase or decrease the highlighted parts of the stone until it matches the numerator of the fraction. Look, you did it. The door is open. That is wonderful. Now, walk through the door to find out what lies behind it and move forward with our journey. Great job. Nice to see you've reached the second temple, Tiffany. To open the doors of this temple, you need to compare the two fractions that are on the stones. To do so, first you need to make the denominators of both fractions the same. Stand on up and down buttons below each fraction stone, to change the parts the stone is divided to and as a result change the numerator and the denominator of the fraction respectively. Once both stones are divided into the same number of equal parts, and the denominator of both fractions are the same, you must be able to compare them. Tiffany, my first student, bravo. Now that the comparison platform has descended, it is time to compare the two fractions. When two fractions have the same denominator, fraction with the larger numerator is bigger. Stand on the greater than symbol if the fraction on the left is greater than the fraction on the right. Stand on the less than symbol if the fraction on the left is smaller than the fraction on the right, and stand on the equal symbol, equals, if they are both equal. But be careful. Mayans used to fill their temples with traps, so if you stand on the wrong symbol, the walls of the temple will collapse and we won't be able to get inside the temple. Oh, be careful. You stood on the wrong symbol. The walls will collapse and fall down if you stand on a wrong symbol again. There are no pressure plates here to find a common denominator for the fractions, but you do not need to worry. When a fraction's numerator is 1, it is called a unit fraction, and you can compare unit fractions by their denominators. In comparing unit fractions, fraction with a larger denominator is smaller, as the same size of stone is divided to more equal parts, making each single part smaller. It is just like when you cut a pizza into 6 equal slices instead of 4. When you have 6 slices, each slice will be smaller than when you have 4 slices. These fractions already have common denominators. When fractions have the same denominator, they are called fractions with the same unit fraction. The unit fraction of a fraction is a fraction where the denominator is the same as the denominator of the fraction, and the numerator is 1. You can simply compare fractions with the same unit fraction by their numerators, as they already have common denominators. The fraction with larger numerator will be bigger. These fractions neither have the same denominator, nor they are unit fractions, but we can solve this puzzle too. As you can see, they both have the same numerator. When two fractions have the same numerator, the fraction with the smaller denominator is larger. That is because the fraction with smaller denominator has a larger unit fraction, and since they both have the same numerator, the fraction with the larger unit fraction will be bigger. This looks different, Jacob. Mayans used a different method to protect their temples this time. You need to compare the two fractions again, but this time you have to use a different method to find a common denominator. Another method to make the denominators of two fractions the same is to multiply each fraction into the other fraction's denominator. To do so, stand on each fraction's denominator to multiply it into the other fraction. Once the fraction is multiplied in the other fraction's denominator, the result of the multiplication will be shown in the results board. Now that both fractions have the same denominator, the comparison platform has descended and you can easily compare the two fractions to get the door open. We're almost there, Jacob. This is the final temple, and the most different one so far as well. To reach the fractured treasure, you must order all the fractions from the smallest to the greatest. Stand on the fractions in order, to fill the fields in order from the smallest to the greatest. You might see some fractions that are larger than 1, but don't worry, the rules that you have learned so far apply to fractions larger than a whole as well. Good luck, Mr. Garcia. The order of the fractions are not correct. The walls will collapse if you don't get it right in 2 more attempts. The order of the fractions are not correct. The walls will collapse if you don't get it right in 2 more attempts.